Good morning, furry fandom. It's Fox Cub, aka Copper Kid here, bringing you another storytime video. And this time, this video is going to be a little bit different. The story I want to share with you is a little bit short, so I figured why not tell them more than one story on the same subject. So, today you're getting a 3-for-1 video. That's right, you heard me right. I said 3 stories for 1 video, and they are stories on how I had almost died. So, I'm going to try and tell, well, 2 of them are how I almost died, and the other one's almost how I got pretty severely injured. But I'm going to try my best to tell them in the order they happened, because I'm a little fuzzy on the memory of the order. But anyways, I'm going to just do my best. So, I'm going to start off with the first one, how I almost got severely injured. It was, I think at my early teenager years, and, me and my dad went walking in the woods, and we had a machete with us to cut any briars and weeds, maybe cut a couple of thin trees that were in the way, because my dad wanted to cut a pathway, because back then, I believe he was a bit, thinking about hunting on that area, because he was a hunter. I don't remember why he brought the machete, but, we came to a field that is close to my house. We could literally walk from that field to my house. There was a hill we can literally walk over and see my house. But, while he was looking for arrowheads, because that's what he does too, look for arrowheads in, like, fields or on top of big hills where Native American Indians may have hunted, and their arrows or spears or whatever they put their arrowheads on, most likely arrows, hence the name Arrowhead, missed an animal and went into the ground and has been there for many, many, many years. So while he was doing that, I was the one carrying the machete, so I figured while I was bored there was like 3 haystacks. I was going to each individual haystack, and I was taking the machete and throwing it into the haystack like how someone throws a knife into the ground or a tree. So while he was doing that, I was bored doing that. And when I got on the very last haystack, I was throwing it into there, and it was sticking a few times until I had a little thicker overlapped patch of hay, and it, instead of going into it, it bounced right off and headed right toward my face. If I didn't put my hand up in the way of the blade and moved, it may have actually cut my face and caused me to have a severe injury and a scar right down the side of my face. The most it did is the saw blade on the back of the machete hit my fingers, cut my fingers a little, and because of me moving, it didn't cause any more harm than that. So that's the first story of how I almost got really injured and almost scarred, literally. The second story of how this one is where I actually almost died. I was at a pool party because my local library does these summer book reading things every year. And I was at the party, and I'm not the best swimmer. I can swim, but I can't swim for long distances before I can't hold my breath much longer, and I'm very slow at swimming. So you can see the problem there. So I decided, out of just wanting to do it, I decided to swim across from end to end of the pool. I go from the shallow side to the deep side, and I was almost to the end of the pool when I started to lose my breath, and I tried to put my head up to take a gasp of air, and I got water in my mouth. And every time I tried to spit water out and try to take another gasp of air, I got more water in my mouth. Just a little, just enough to make you choke like that. That wasn't a real cough, for the record. That was a demonstration. And it kept making me get out of breath, making me more tired. And I knew if I didn't get to the pool soon, I would go underwater and most likely drown. And I was struggling more and more and more to get to that pool. I honestly thought that I was going to drown, and I just barely made it to the edge of the pool. And when I got out of the pool, I leaned over, coughing and spitting up all the water I could. I mean, I had so much water coming off of my face and some out of my mouth, it reminded me of that scene from the movie Abyss, where that guy is trying to drain all the water out of his lungs. That's the situation it reminded me of. I was so out of breath, so tired that I actually had to sit down for a few minutes to catch my breath and just relax and get my head more straightened, because I still believe that was my first near-death experience. That was the second story of how the first one of how I almost died, and the second story of today. Now, the third story, I know this was a near-death experience. You see, in the state I live in, it has this water park called Holiday World. Some of you who watch my videos may have heard of it, or even some of you may even live in Indiana who watch my videos. But, it's a theme park, water park kind of deal. It's called Holiday and Splash and Safari. And, it has roller coasters, a couple of booth games, free refillable drinks. I mean, you have to buy the drinks, but you get free refills for the rest of the time you're there at the park. And it also has water coasters, which actually is the first actual coaster I went on to face my fear of heights. Not my first roller coaster, though. Technically, my first roller coaster was a combination between a roller coaster and a water coaster. Kind of hard to describe it. Still have a fear of heights, though, but a little less now of those coasters. I'll gladly go on those coasters now that I know that they were fun. And well, there was these pools called wave pools. Every so often, like I assume 5 minutes, the pool would go from a calm water, well, calm-ish, as it would be with people in the water, from that to big waves, and people usually like to jump up when these waves come up so they can lift them up and all that. Well, my curiosity got the best of me. I wondered what a wave looked like from underwater, so what I did is I put on my swim goggles I had with me at the time that still fit my head, because I had them for years and all that, and I went underwater to see what they looked like, because I've only seen what they looked like in videos and movies. And I saw what they looked like. Well, after I couldn't hold my breath any longer and the waves were done, I came up, and as soon as I came up, there was another wave coming, because they have this big beep that goes on to let people know the wave is coming. And as soon as I was up and I opened my mouth to get air, water hit me in the face, and I went underwater again. And every time I came up to try and get more air, literally every time my mouth was open, water got in my mouth, and I could not catch my breath. Every time I came up above water, a wave hit me in the face. It was like I was at Hawaii during, big waves, and I could not catch my breath because I had so much water going into my face and my mouth. I couldn't get any air whatsoever. I was certain I was going to die. But the people I went with my brother and his girlfriend had 2 sons. And her oldest son saw I was having trouble and actually grabbed my arm and lifted me up above the water to the edge of the pool and kept me from drowning. I told him thanks for that and all that. Basically, if he didn't do that, I wouldn't be alive. Most likely. I would have actually drowned. And, from those experiences, of the water experiences, people say drowning doesn't hurt. It's true that drowning doesn't hurt. It's the gasping for air that hurts. And I know that from personal experience, you can tell from these 2 stories. And ever since then, I've been cautious on going to pools and water parks, to make sure I'm always by the edge in case of something happening, that I can just grab on the edge and lift myself up above the water. And I've learned my lesson from those two water experiences and throwing big blades into haystacks, now that I know that they can bounce off. So my days of stupidity, hopefully most of it is all behind me. And that's all the stories I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed them, of me telling my stupidity. And I hope that these stories weren't too graphic or disturbing. I was going to wait longer to tell these stories, but I didn't know what other story to tell today. So, yeah. Let me know if you like this. Let me know in the comments section down below if you like this story or not, or if it was too graphic, whatever. Or if you have any stories you would like to suggest to me to tell, leave them in the comment section down below. Or if you have any just random ideas you would like to see on my channel, leave them in the comments section down below. And while you're at it, hit the like button, click the notification, click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single time when I do upload a video. And that's all for this video. So this is Fox Cub, aka Copper Kid, signing off.